What's your favorite mountain game? The hard-hitting questions here on
these are the deep questions. I love my Kokobo because he's my little best friend and battle partner. But other than that, I really like my little Spriggan mount. I love how hard he works to hold you up on his little basket of jewels.
How'd you get that one?
I think it was Mog Station. It was a gift. It's super cute. It's my PvP mount because he has such a sense of urgency that really fits for PvP for me.
Yeah.
I also I try to use my mount roulette button as often as I can just to kind of give them all some love. But I like my Spriggan. I like my little Corpicur. I love my Space Whale. That was also a gift. And my hunt mount, the lion with the crown. One of my favorite things in the game entirely. So beautiful.
What about you, Chris? What's your favorite mount?
Namatu. The Namatu mount. It's got one passed out hanging off the back.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I've got a person with a pig suit hanging off the other side. It's perfection.
Would it be even?
It was the one time they added a beast tribe where I wasn't like, that's really cool. They added the beast tribe and I was like, well, that's what I'm doing every time I log in. Immediately. It's like, Chris, we need you in the instance right now. That is unfortunate. I have to finish my Namatu dailies. They won't be here when I get out of the instance. I have to finish them now.
Yeah. So would you love it even more if you got it gilded in that regards?
I said that I would buy the gilded if I ever got to 100 million gil. I don't see how I get to 100 million gil when in the last 3 months I've given away 4 million gil and have spent only one stream making gil. That is not a sustainable pace.
Yeah.
We'll do maps. I gotta
a map stream. Map stream you could make
maps
crazy
on
money.
maps, maybe.
Maps
yeah.
on maps.
You can make 1 million gil if you get a good map day.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love maps. I love how that works in this game.
But leveling, right? Leveling doesn't make a whole lot of money. Running level 30 dungeons where you get something that's best and highest use is 120 grand company seals. You're like, well, that did nothing.
I'm going to get to John's question here for the panel, but I do want to answer my own question regarding the mount. I have to say it's my Twin Tanya mount, which you get by inviting players into the game. If you guys aren't aware, you can go out to the Mog Station and get a code, link, email, whatever, like your friends get joined and connected before they subscribe for the first time. And you might be also riding that Twin Tanya mount, and it is amazing in my opinion. So I love that. I love my 1.0 Gubu and Legacy mounts, but I just never really ride them. I tend to stick with kind of dragons, and the most proud I am of a mount is the PvP mounts for the Garo event. So I got all those, and it's nice when those get pulled out in roulette because everybody's like, "Where did you get that?" And it's awesome because I'm like, I earned this. It took me a long time to get this. And then at the same time, I'm like, I hope they bring that event back at some point because they're not available. It's like, it is that sense of in that regards. But
the best part of those mounts is the way they take off from ground to air. I earned one and was like, that's enough PvP. So I got one. I have the silver one. It's good enough. But for a PvP mount where you're on the ground, they're this metal horse. But when you take them out of PvP, which you earn them in PvP and you take off, there's big metal wings just fly out. Cool. And they're this amazing, beautiful metallic Pegasus. Such a graceful transition.
Absolutely. So John says, I love the stream. Thanks, John. As a new player to Final Fantasy XIV, do you recommend one character for all jobs or multiple characters? Thanks for any tip and advice. Moody, question's yours. We'll go around the horn.
I will say, first of all, do whatever's in your heart. However, I think making an informed decision is always the best. So one of the draws of Final Fantasy XIV for a lot of people is that you can play every single class on the same character, every single job on the same character. I have an alt. I created it because I wanted a Rogadin because they're gorgeous, and I wanted to go through the MSQ again on an actual character. I know some people that do have an alt for every class because they like to have a different character and a different race and just a different look, not have to worry about inventory. There's no better way to do it. Doing all of the classes, leveling them all on the same character, just keep an eye on your inventory because I don't, and I am feeling it.
There is a a value in having them all available, because you build up a reputation as your character. So
Yeah.
it is nice to say, like, this is my character and I can do all these things. But what do you think, Chris? Would you recommend one character for all jobs or multiple characters?
I think all on one will satisfy the majority of the base, the majority of the player base. The reason to have more than one is you want to experience MSQ and get experience, as opposed to New Game Plus was not always available. It is now. It does not give experience, and so it can help you feel like you're getting something out of it. So if you want to level a different class through MSQ, the only way to do that's an alt. RP is a common reason to want like a different, people who feel like I want to look different when I'm this job. I want to interact with players and have this different personality. I want a different character to represent this other job. And then raid lockouts. So people that raid at the top end that want to raid across multiple armor types. So they have like a tank and a healer, or they play 2 DPS and DPS can screw off. Then they want to be able to get raid lockouts. And each week you can only get so much raid loot, right? And your weekly tome cap and all of that, it's capped. And so if you either have a half level, you're alternating, and then you're really not optimally playing anything, or you're optimally playing one, and then the other job just feels like it's getting further and further and further behind until further into the raid cycle. And so sometimes you'll see raiding characters or people who didn't originally raid, they have all their characters level on one, and that's what they do their main on. And then because they raid, they're like, oh, I keep this other character. Other than that, all the other reasons that I've seen have gone away over the years. So it used to be so I could play with people on different servers. We can now jump servers. And then it was, now I want to play with different people on data centers. That's going away as well. And so like all the other things are going away. I will warn you, to people with multiple characters, this game was not designed with multiple characters in mind. And the code base designed the number of account-wide codes, the item IDs, as a fixed number. So they have a static number of account-wide item IDs they can use. So every time they add an item to the game, a mount or anything like that, if they give it one of those account-wide item IDs, that's one less forever. And so they are very, very cautious to use account-wide. It's not just like a toggle, because they didn't build the game with that foresight.
Yeah. The mindset of like being in that end game progression and wanting to push all 3 roles or 5 roles, or I mean, technically when you get in the melee, they all use different gear sets. So like there are, even outside of that, you could have like even a greater level potential characters. If it ends up being a lot of work where the game just kind of makes it easier. So if you're not trying to min max out that, like, oh, I want to have a maxed out tank, a maxed out healer, a maxed out caster. And then if you go on from there, even to the melees, like each week, then honestly, I think, the overall pace of the game is great for the one character, multiple jobs perspective. And you could even decide to split that up across 2 characters later. I would really focus in on getting at least one job on one character to cap, and then deciding what is best for you. And so if it ends up being that you feel like you might go in that direction, then on that character, stick with a specific role, and then take another character and say, this character is going to be my tank, or, my healer, or something like that. But there's really no wrong answer. Like Moody said, I think you said it right. Like whatever, if you're having fun, you're doing it right. That's the official, also Square Enix stance in that regard.
The head writer for Endwalker, the finale of the story, who also wrote the Dark Knight quest, beloved writer, when she was asked at FanFest the theme of the expansion, to give us a hint of the theme of the expansion, she refused to give us the theme, because she said, I do not want why we enjoyed the expansion, what we look forward to about what this expansion tackled, to imply that that's the right way to play or the only way to play. And what I would rather do is, there are people who play in ways we could never picture as developers. And if they're having fun, they're doing it right. And so if I had to name a theme, it would be have fun. And that's all she would say. She nope, I'm not going there. So if you are having fun and you're not hurting somebody else's fun, you're doing it right.
Yeah, but I definitely recommend at least having a couple of roles leveled, whether you do it in one character or multiple, because that's going to give you a lot of flexibility when it comes to party comp. That way you can say, you know what, hey, we were thinking about doing this. Oh, my friend can come, but they only have one job. Like when you run, and you will run into that situation, I wouldn't knock them. Everybody's new. They're all still like, hey, this is the first one I'm leveling up, right? So they don't have that flexibility. But as you play and become a veteran, having that level of flexibility, going like, oh, I'll tank. Oh, I'll heal. Oh, I can come as a DPS. Like, it really makes party comp so much more comfortable. especially like when you, let's say, like Moody, do you raid or do you play with your community at all? Is that a big part of your stream?
Oh yeah, and that's why I started leveling the alternate roles, was because I wanted to be able to fill more for whatever. And it's way better now for me, at least, because we play together like every day. We do something in group, and it's way better for me to be like, oh, I can just run whatever. Like if I'm leveling something in particular, then people are very kind and are like, you do you and we'll fill. But I like being able to help people no matter what role they're on, and be like, I'll just come like tank this extreme for you unsynced real quick and we'll get you the completion. Or like, let's run maps, or we can, do Bahamut's Coil unsynced, and we'll all kind of go on whatever and just get everybody the completion for it. It feels really good to be able to play with your friends no matter what. It does make it a lot easier. You're right.
I will say, I don't know if you finished any roles yet, but your warrior being your last tank, you talked about armory space being tight. That goes away as you finish roles. Every level you put on a warrior now, all of the tanking gear below that level, you're done with forever, because they'll never add a tank that uses anything below, because we always go back in expansion. So the new jobs being added start at level 70. So there's no reason for anything below level 70 unless you have jobs below level 70. So as every time you get an entire role past a certain threshold, 30, 50, 60, 70, 80 are kind of the thresholds I would break the game down to. Everything below that just kind of disappears. And so that armory is really tight if you're somebody who's jumping around and has like, I have 16 jobs at 16 different levels. That's a lot. But as you start to say like, okay, all my tanks are at 80, all my healers are at 80, they really do sync up quite well. Casters get a little weird because Blue Mage keeps a second set, and Melee gets weird because that's, I don't know. Sorry.
I experienced that on Crafters and Gatherers. All my Crafters and Gatherers are at 80. And it was the most freeing feeling to throw away all of them.
So much.
It's beautiful.
Mine were all over the place. There was so much crafting gear in my armory space.
There's a lot. I don't necessarily recommend having a bunch of crafters at random levels and having a bunch of...
Do one to cap to see if you like crafting, and then if you do the other 7 together.
That's what I did. I tried to do that. I varied a little bit.
There's a 50 thing. Like I see Chad over on Twitch talking about like getting them to 50 is a really good staging point, because crafting also becomes way different post 50, because you can literally just stay in town as opposed to like going to location to location. And I forgot that. I remember when I was like, had a couple that were sub 50 and everything else, I was like, this is great. Zip, 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 zip. And then it's like, oh wait, I'm 39.
You're always slow.
What do I have to do? Oh, I actually have to go out to the place and deliver that, which is a relic of the 1.0 system in a way. So it's like at the core of it, that's where we go.